everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we're going to talk about how our human sets up realities. How do we create these human realities? So let's start with what a typical human reality, how it will begin. So let's say we are working through a program. So all of our human realities are based on our human programming. That's how it works. We have human programming, and then we play the programming out in our realities. Then we become more conscious, and then we can shift the realities. But before we can shift them, we have to understand them. So how do we create them? So let's say we are in a situation that we have created, our human has created it, where we feel like we are a victim to something. So we're clearing victim energy, and we have given our power away to this thing, this person, this job. It doesn't really matter what it is. Look at just the energy of what's going on. We've given our power away. We have said this person is doing this to us. This thing did this to us. I'm getting screwed in this. So we have all this programming going on that I have no power. I'm not good enough. Look at what's happening to me. Woe is me. So what do we attract? We're going to attract someone with the same frequency as what we're now giving off, which is this whole reality of no power, lack, not good enough, I'm a victim, oh, woe is me. That's a frequency we're giving off. So we're going to attract people at that consciousness, at that frequency, and in that dimension. So then we're going to attract all these people, and they're going to agree with us. I'll have people say to me, well, this happened and everyone agrees with me. Of course they agree with you. They agree with you because you're going to attract people in that dimension, in that consciousness, in that reality. They're going to agree with you because that's what you're giving off. That's what we're going to attract. Of course they're going to agree with you. That's why they're there. So then they're going to tell their story of how they're getting screwed, and how someone did that to them. And then you're going to tell your story about how I'm getting screwed, and then here we go. We're in a big screw fest. Everyone's getting screwed. Everyone's talking about how they got taken advantage of, how they can't control it, how they don't have any power. And here we go around and around and around. And that is a human reality. And we will stay in those loops until we raise our consciousness enough to identify the programming. So first we have to identify what we're doing. So remember, we're setting up all these realities to clear out all the programming on one hand. There's always a zillion reasons why. We're also setting up all these realities so we can play all these programs out, because that's the frequency we're giving off, right? Outside matches the inside. So what do we do, right? How do we shift the reality? How do we change it? First, we have to look at that we're creating it. We have to take ownership that we're calling these people in to do this to us. We're calling these people in to take this advantage of us. Not really, but that's how the human's going to see it. We're asking for these realities to play out. One, by what we're transmitting, and two, to help us see what we're transmitting. Because we don't see it, we can't ever clear it. But once we see that, we can say, no, not anymore. That's not true. This whole program I'm running, that's not true. I'm not getting taken advantage of. I'm giving my power away because I don't feel like I have enough power here. That's ridiculous. Let's break that program. Let's shift the story. We could say, yeah, that happened to me once, and then I realized I was creating the whole thing. I'm giving my power away. I'm also clearing all this fear about whatever's going on, so it had a purpose. But then at one point, the purpose is done. Then you're going to attract people that are then going to feed that reality. And the people who fed the other reality, either you'll shift them to where they'll shift, and then they'll be able to see their predicament, how they'll see it, their issue from a different reality, a different consciousness, or they'll just go away because they're not in a space yet to see it from that reality. They're not in that consciousness yet, and that's okay. Because sometimes we have to leave things, people, places, different situations because we can't shift when we're still in it. I've had a lot of situations like that where things had to kind of be removed because I couldn't shift in those situations. I was too in them, and I just kept playing out the loop. I couldn't shift and get to my next space until they were removed. And sometimes can remove them ourselves. Things that we're not that attached to, the human's not that attached to, we can kind of just, once we get to a consciousness, we can say, yeah, I don't want to be in this anymore because it's not, I can't shift around this, around these people, around the situation. I can't shift. I can't do what I need to do. It doesn't mean I can't re-enter it later from a different consciousness. It doesn't mean they all have to go away forever. The human is like, oh, it has to go away forever. I'm going to lose everything. Not necessarily. It might be for now because I can't shift when I'm in it. I have to get away from it so I can shift it. I can't do it when I'm involved in it. I can re-enter it later from a completely different consciousness. And when I do that, I'll be able to shift the whole reality. The reality will be totally different. So sometimes we just back away ourselves. And if our human is really attached to something and we're kind of still in it, and at one point it served a purpose, and we were in this reality to clear programming, and we could kind of see the programming, we were clearing it and see it and clearing it, but we can kind of get in a rut sometimes. Our universe would just us, a higher version of us will just take it out because it knows we can't shift with it there. Once again, it can come back. We just might not we're making the subconscious choice saying just take it out because I can't shift with this here. It'll just go. And sometimes, we can grieve that. The human will want to grieve that because it's a loss. We don't know why these people had to go away. The human will miss them because they were important to us. I always say I don't really miss people. I'd like to see people again, but I try not to get into the missing energy because that's kind of can be a lacking energy, that when you're at a certain consciousness, you miss people. And that can kind of it's a different video. That's a different thing. But just be aware of that. So sometimes we have to just completely go because we can't shift it in it. But just look at the stories you're telling. Know their stories. Look at the people who come around to feed the story. You'll know the story you're projecting. You'll know the programming you're running in. See who shows up. Could always be the same people that'll show up to tell you their story. If you're running a really severe lack program, you'll find there's probably one or two people always that show up to talk about their whole thing. And then everyone's talking about their whole thing. We keep recreating the reality because we keep talking about it until we shift out of it and say, oh, that's crap. That's not true. Let's move on. So just watch that. Watch what you're saying. Watch what you're doing. Can you shift the reality? Now, sometimes we have to, when you see someone in their human program, we can either go down and meet that frequency. I say go down because it's probably not higher and lower, but we can meet that dimension. We can meet that consciousness, or we can keep it at a different consciousness. We can keep it at a consciousness that says, no, I had that happen once, but then I looked at it like this. We can always do that. Sometimes it's not receptive, and that's fine because that's not the space they're at. But you can try to expose someone to a different space. Now, I know it can be frustrating because you feel like you'll go through a program and then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm done with that one. And you're good for a while. And then here it comes again. You're like, damn, I thought I was done. It's not that you're going back. You just hit the frequency again at a deeper level, and then you'll repeat it again. And sometimes you can spin up it and again for months at a time. And then you'll say, oh crap, wait a minute, what am I doing? And then you get to the point where you can catch it like that and go, no, release this program. None of this is true. I'm creating this whole reality again to clear more programming out. But sometimes that starts happening when we get to a more conscious place with it because we can see ourselves looping back. We start to keep track of it. And we can see, oh crap, I'm back again here. You're not back again here. You're just hitting the frequency again. So you're going to play it out again. How long you play it out, it's up to you. As soon as you recognize a program, you have the power to shift it. That's up to us. We are the catalyst of the shift. We are always the catalyst of the shift. It's our story. It's our programming. So look at the programs. Look at the realities you create. Because remember, you're controlling the whole thing. And keep practicing the art of intuition.